Hamas Resistance Movement is currently in talks with leaders of the Palestinian groups to discuss a new ceasefire proposal received from mediators. And the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, denounced on Thursday the existence of new foreign criminal organizations in the country that control territories to export cocaine. And in Brazil, Finance Minister Fernando Haddad met with his counterparts from China and Russia to agree on the strengthening of the bilateral financial dialogue on the eve of the BRICS leaders' meeting. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. The resistance movement Hamas is currently in talks with leaders of the Palestinian groups to discuss a new ceasefire proposal received from the mediators. Hamas declared that it will present its final decision to mediators, including in the agreement a gradual exchange of 10 living and 18 dead hostages for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The proposal follows report of an alleged agreement by Israel to carry out a near-complete withdrawal of its military troops from Gaza under a possible 60-day ceasefire. Meanwhile, Israeli occupation forces continued their aggression in the Palestinian territory, killing 16 people and wounding dozens more in an attack on people waiting for aid trucks east of Han Yunis. And at least 20 were killed and several more wounded when Israeli forces shelled and opened fire on displaced people's tents in Han Yunis in the southern part of the Gaza Strip on Friday morning. According to local media reports, 15 people were killed in a bombardment near the Taiba Towers, 3 in the Al-Sabra neighborhood and 2 at a humanitarian aid center north of Rafah. These deaths are in addition to the more than 100 people killed by the Israeli army in various areas of the Gaza Strip on Thursday. It is believed that Palestinian armed factions ambushed an Israeli maneuver force operating in the region, prompting the army to intensify its operations early Friday morning. And authorities recorded explosions and plumes of smoke after Israeli airstrikes in southern Lebanon. The Israeli army claimed to have carried out airstrikes against military positions containing weapons cache, as well as military buildings and terrorist infrastructure belonging to Hamas Resistance Movement in southern Lebanon. This incident comes amidst a recent escalation of tensions on the Lebanon-Israel border, where exchanges of fire between Israeli forces and the Hezbollah group have intensified in recent weeks. The shelling also caused panic among residents, although no fatalities have been confirmed so far. And after the British band Bob Dylan used the slogan against the Israeli armed forces at the Glastonbury Festival, a German concert venue cancelled their opening act performance for Gogol Bordello's European tour. The decision came after the media outrage generated by last Saturday's performance on the West Holt stage amid Israeli aggression that has resulted in the death of more than 57,000 Palestinians. Similarly, organizers of the Radar Festival in Manchester and Cave Fest in France cancelled their events. Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of State revoked the band's visas, jeopardizing their planned October tour despite the sanctions. The band reaffirmed its position, saying silence is not an option. The Palestinian people are suffering.
Must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free. Free, free.
And in Sudan, humanitarian organizations warn of attacks on health institutions across the country, calling them atrocities against civilians. In a report on the title Besieged, Attacked, Starving, the entity maintained that healthcare is unviable due to systematic attacks. Doctors Without Borders state that 70% of medical facilities in Sudan have been shut down or are simply operating, and that is a sign of an end to that there is no sign of an end to the conflict. This war, which began in April 2023, has left the population struggling with a lack of food security and the danger of famine, exposing citizens to the vulnerability of disease, outbreaks such as cholera, which, given the collapse of the health system, has become difficult to control.
As to international actors, UN member states and bodies, the states with influence over the warring parties who provide them military, economic or diplomatic support, they must use all their leverage.
And Russia became the first country to formally recognize the Taliban-led regime in Afghanistan since it took power in 2021. The Russian foreign minister said in a statement that the act of official recognition of the government of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan will boost the development of fruitful bilateral cooperation between the two countries in different areas. The Russian ministry stressed that this future cooperation will have its main focus in trade, energy, transport, agriculture, and infrastructure, as well as the fight against crimes related to drug trafficking. For its part, the Afghan Ministry of Foreign Affairs described the recognition as positive and important. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, rescue teams continue to search for 29 people missing after a ferry bound for the island of Bali capsized, an accident that has so far left 6 people dead. Teams from the National Search and Rescue Agency are searching by land, water, and air in the Bali Strait, where the boat with 53 passengers and 12 crew members sank on Wednesday night. So far, 29 people have been rescued. The search was halted on Thursday night to be resumed on Friday at 8 a.m. local time with the deployment of aircrafts. Authorities anticipate a strong tide for the day, with waves of 4 meters that will make the search more difficult. And at least 20 people were injured in Italy when an explosion occurred at a gas station southwest of Rome. According to police sources, the initial explosion occurred around 8 a.m. local time in the Prenestino neighborhood, which is located southwest of the capital. So far, 20 people have been injured, including 9 police officers and a firefighter. Initial hypothesis suggests that firefighters were alerted by a truck that hit a gas pipe. When they arrived on the scene, a strong explosion occurred. This explosion was preceded by smaller explosions which caused a column of black smoke and a large fire that firefighters are trying to control. It's estimated that the number of injured individuals may increase. And in France, authorities call on airlines to cancel hundreds of flights amidst the second day of air traffic controllers' strike. Civil Aviation General Directorate asked local airline companies to reduce by 40% their flight schedules to the country's 2 main airports, Charles de Gaulle and Orly in Paris. On the first day of strike, almost 1,000 routes were canceled, so it's estimated the number of passengers affected could be approximately 300,000. Unions demand better working conditions and increased staffing. We now have our first break coming up. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We're going to be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Mercosur summit concluded Thursday in Buenos Aires, Argentina, with the announcement of a free trade agreement with the European Free Trade Association. In his last speech as Mercosur's pro tempore president, Javier Milei questioned the validity of the common market, demanded more flexibility for the bloc, called for ultra-liberal reforms in favor of commercial freedom, and warned that Argentina could abandon the bloc if the partners do not follow these measures. The Argentine president was joined at the summit by Foreign Minister Gerardo Barthain and Presidential Secretary Karina Milei, visiting heads of states including the presidents of Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, Bolivia, and Panama. New bloc's rotating presidency was formally handed over to Brazil.
Nacionales, queridas amigas y amigos. Es un honor.
And the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, denounced on Thursday the existence of new foreign criminal organizations in the country that control territories to export cocaine. The president insisted that this is a problem of national sovereignty. Likewise, the head of state said that if Colombia loses territories, it does so in the hands of Albanians, Italians, Mexicans, Paraguayans, and Colombians at the service of all of them. The president also referred to the assaulted Senator Uribe Turbay and pointed out that they only know that the perpetrators are micro-traffickers. An Ecuador security bloc made up of police and military seized nearly 3 tons of drugs and arrested 5 people allegedly linked to the Albanian mafia. This is the result of a raid carried out on a property that operated under the facade of a cattle ranch in the town of Chongon, one of the most insecure areas in Ecuador. The security bloc managed to apprehend 5 people allegedly linked to the Albanian mafia. He detailed that during the intervention, suspicious containers were located and they found a truck parked in an irregular way, which contained approximately 3 tons of drugs. The drugs seized in the most recent operation in Guayas are added to the 96 tons of narcotics, most of them cocaine, seized in the first 6 months of 2025. And in Argentina, at least 9 Argentines are reported dead due to the extreme polar cold wave that the South American nation is facing. The victims succumbed to the cold while living on the streets in different regions of the country. According to the international meteorological records, the low temperatures registered in the capital, Buenos Aires, and other provinces position the nation as the coldest country in the world. And also in Argentina, the city of Mar del Plata ran out of gas in the midst of the polar wave. Mar del Plata, the 5th largest city in the country, ran out of gas in several areas on Thursday, and services were suspended in schools, hospitals, universities, industrial parks, restaurants, and natural gas stations. Temperatures reached 10 degrees below zero, and according to the National Gas Regulatory Entity, consumption of the service grew by 25% compared to last year. Due to the high demand caused by low temperatures, the natural gas supply was completely suspended. In the last few hours, the gas distribution company reported that it has managed to reconnect the supply to more than 1,000 residents and will continue to guarantee the reconnection of all users. And in Greece, a large forest fire that broke out on Thursday on the outskirts of Athens has forced local authorities to order the evacuation of more than 1,200 people. Meanwhile, hundreds of firefighters are struggling to contain the flames before nightfall forces a halt to the aerial water dropping. The most worrying outbreak is one that continues to burn near the town of Spata, with a population of about 12,000, which for the moment has not been evacuated and is not directly threatened. The fire broke out Thursday near the coastal town of Rafina, located some 20 kilometers east of the Greek capital, and spread rapidly westward, fueled by strong winds.
We did everything we could. The firefighting planes and helicopters that arrived immediately did a great job. They lowered immensely the temperature and helped so much. We fought a big fight and we managed to contain the fire.
We now have our second and final short break coming up. Before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Brazil, Finance Minister Fernando Haddad met on Thursday with his counterparts from China and Russia to agree on the strengthening of bilateral financial dialogue on the eve of the BRICS leaders meeting. Haddad received the finance ministers of China and Russia, Lan Foan and Anton Silvanov, and they agreed to a memorandum for financial cooperation at the bilateral and multilateral levels. Brazil reaffirmed its commitment to the 2025 World Climate Summit and backed the fund to conserve tropical forests. On Friday and Saturday, Rio de Janeiro will host the first meeting of the finance ministers of the BRICS and the 10th annual meeting of the Board of Governors of the New Development Bank. And in this context, the Brazilian Navy announced that naval patrols and maritime control activities will be reinforced in key areas along Rio de Janeiro coast before the BRICS summit. Several military units will also be in charge of securing the access roads and the surroundings of the Museum of Modern Art and the Marina da Gloria, where the high-level meeting will take place. The BRICS summit will take place on July 6th and the 7th in Rio de Janeiro, bringing together heads of states of 11 member countries together with invited partners. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum affirmed that the Mexico plan seeks to compensate for possible losses that may occur after tensions with the United States. The Mexican president explained that the tariffs and the environment created by the new measures implemented by Washington have had some impact on the country. However, President Sheinbaum noted that the situation could be offset in the second half of the year as both public and private construction projects are gaining momentum nationwide. She also emphasized that Mexico remains competitive in terms of exports and reaffirmed the government's commitment to reaching an agreement with the U.S. And U.S. migration authorities arrested Thursday in Los Angeles Mexican boxer Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. with a deportation order. An official statement issued by the Department of Homeland Security referred to Chavez Jr. as an undocumented criminal with active arrest warrant in Mexico for his alleged involvement in organized crime and trafficking in firearms, ammunition, and explosives. U.S. authorities allege that Chavez is an affiliate of the Sinaloa cartel, a group designated by the Trump administration as a foreign terrorist organization. According to the agency, the Mexican boxer entered the United States legally in August 2023 on a B-2 tourist visa valid only until February 2024. And the government of the Dominican Republic deported more than 30,757 Haitian nationals during June 2025. A press release from the General Directorate of Migration stated that these citizens without legal documents were returned to their country. Likewise, the institution pointed out that as of August, the operations against illegal migration will be intensified throughout the territory, with the arrival of some 465 migratory agents distributed in 19 of the 31 provinces of the country. The operations against migrants increased after President Luis Abinader announced 15 measures that tighten the migratory policy due to the violence that persists in the neighboring country. The biennial SUR will celebrate its 10th anniversary this Saturday in Argentina within the framework of its 2025 edition. After inaugurating its first exhibitions in Colombia last week, this cultural event, described as the largest in the world, will organize new exhibitions and a performance at the Contemporary Arts Center in Buenos Aires. Also next week, several exhibitions will be inaugurated in other places, such as the Memory Park, the Isaac Fernandez Blanco Hispanic American Art Museum, and the Palacio Pereda Cultural Space of the Brazilian Embassy. Artists from Italy, Mexico, France, Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay will be present during the celebration. And the 7th edition of the National Puppet Festival Chiapas 2025 comes to Mexico. This festival that aims to promote local talent in the creation and staging of puppets will bring together 17 companies from all over the country that will offer more than 50 activities to highlight the rich theatrical tradition of the state. From July 4th to July 6th, the Children's Museum will host workshops, artistic presentations, and exhibitions that will celebrate the world of puppets, as well as performances and workshops in schools and public squares in various municipalities of the state, with the objective of providing families with the opportunity to enjoy performances of table puppets, string puppets, puppetry, and marionettes. The province of Cartago is preparing to receive the Costa Rica Piano Festival 2025 with a free concert for the whole family. This traditional festival, which promotes national and foreign piano talent, will take place from July 5th to the 12th at the Municipal Museum of Cartago and will feature the performance of various interpreters who will participate in a week dedicated to music and artistic training. The inaugural gala will include outstanding Costa Rican pianists such as Luciana Astorga, Carlos Andres Lara, and Amanda Espinosa, while the closing ceremony would feature world-renowned artists. Director of the festival, Lanzo Luconi, emphasized that the meeting will be an opportunity for young pianists to grow. St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to celebrate the 2025 Vincimas to the rhythm of soca and calypso until next July 9th. The streets of the Caribbean nation vibrate with a festive atmosphere. On Thursday, people took part in one of the most anticipated events, a celebration where the steel band joins the masquerades. Throughout the day, children and teenagers participated in the junior edition of the steel band competition, and at night, the adult version was held. This year's celebrations are expected to attract thousands of visitors, both local and international. At least we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thanks for watching.